Why you got to be a dick and drink in front of me?
Because that's what I'm good at.
Sober October, I'm still going strong.
You are.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So, we're on the Hightower. What bike do you normally ride?
Nomad Gen 6.
So the new one. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I had the original V2 Hightower. You didn't care for that bike, did you?
No.
No.
I did not like that bike.
And for me, I really liked it because it kind of helped me progress as a rider, and it was my first longer travel bike. It was a mid-travel, but coming off like my shorter travel bikes, it definitely gave me a lot of confidence. Mm-hmm. So I liked that about it, and I think maybe that's partially why I like it so much, is because it did give me a lot of confidence. But the original one to me felt kind of small in terms of like being a size medium.
The V2.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was small. That was one of the bikes that I definitely had to size up and get an XL in for sure.
And then, so today you were on the large. Mm-hmm. And how'd the new one feel to you compared to the old one?
Sizing-wise, it felt more comfortable. I do think it's better than the V2. It still has that kind of do it all and make everything feel numb kind of deal, but it does have a slightly more playful nature to it, which I did enjoy. So something actually does stand out on it. So
that's good.
That was my biggest gripe with the last one. It did everything well enough that it didn't seem like it did anything.
Right. Which, and I'm glad that you wanted to do this with me, so thank you again for this. And shout out to Joyride Cycles. So the Hightower, to me, seems like the bike to get, because I'm always, and why I wanted to have you on is because I feel like it'd be nice to get a different opinion. Mm-hmm. And because I kind of come from the shorter travel background and you come from the other direction.
Yep.
So I think that's good to have two people of opposite ends of the spectrum doing something like this. So it was kind of cool.
100% agreed, yeah.
So to me, like I felt like this bike felt super stable. And it feels bigger than the old one, longer, more stable, and I felt super confident descending on this. Right. And you coming from a Nomad, you might have a different opinion.
No, it felt good. It just felt short. And your Nomad's a large. Yeah.
And what's the travel on that again?
170.
Front and rear?
Yeah.
And so this one, my old one was 140, 150, and the new
blue, right?
The blue one.
Yeah, yours was 140, 150, and then their new one's 145, 150.
Okay, so 145, and then can you run at 160 or
on the fork?
Yeah.
They don't really say you can. They say you kind of. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, it tops out at 160.
160
fork.
Okay. Yeah, it felt. So how'd you feel like climbing this thing? Like say up Sidewinder. That's a pretty.
Felt good.
Felt good. I mean, it's got some steep bits in there. Mm-hmm. Pedaled okay.
But yeah, actually, I think it climbed better than the last one just a little bit. Like felt kind of sprightly.
Yeah.
By comparison.
I definitely, to me too, I felt the
that
pedaling.
Could be suspension too. I don't know.
Right. That it probably has a different tune on it. I'm assuming. But it definitely felt a little bit sprightlier, but it's still got a little bobby. To me, I didn't feel like it was a very enticing bike to really push hard uphill. It was kind of just a sit in the saddle and spin, and then it does great. Just 80% of your power, and you just cruise.
That's kind of the point of that bike, right?
Right. Yeah.
Do everything.
And I'm like, I like to climb.
I know.
So for me, it lacked a little bit in the climbing department, because I do like that.
Yeah, I would agree.
A little bit zippier feel uphill, but I mean, going downhill. VPP, like every time I ride a VPP bike, I'm always reminded of how just badass they feel going downhill. It really flattens out the trail, but this one not too much compared to maybe my last one. Might have been a little bit gushier. This felt
definitely a little easier to pop off of any of the water bars that we have around here.
Right.
On the new one compared to the old one.
And you made a comment saying that it was kind of a little bit more playful than you expected.
Yes, it was.
So, and they do size-specific chainstays. Mm-hmm. And to me, like coming off the Evils and the Score, I definitely noticed a longer chainstay. I don't know what the number is, but I'd be willing to bet it's like 435 to 436 maybe.
I want to say 436.
So yeah, it definitely felt longer. and it didn't feel as playful to me coming off the bikes that I came off of.
Right.
But you coming from the Nomad, which is
everything feels playful.
Everything feels playful. What else can we talk about?
Well, still not my favorite bike.
So, still not your favorite bike. And that's
I would be
good.
more inclined to buy this one than the last one.
You would.
Yes.
Okay.
I still feel like the Tallboy is a better bike.
Right. Because you kind of like the extreme ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
More so.
All around bikes bug me. That's a weird thing to complain about. I
Right.
know that like it's so good at everything that you're comfortable is a weird thing to bitch about, but
right.
It seems odd to me. It always makes everything just there's nothing standing out or nothing dragging you back, holding you back to fight against or whatever. And I don't like that. I've never liked that in bikes.
Right. So you'd rather go just super burly, coiled, big plow bike, and then a short travel ripper of a.
I think if, like yourself, if you come from a shorter travel background, this is a very all-around bike. It would be actually a perfect all-around bike because it would feel kind of sluggish from what you're used to.
Right, and it does
feel soft.
Right.
And then if you're on the longer travel background, like I'm saying, like you used to race downhill, mega towers and nomads, and anything in that 160 to 180 range will feel more all around to you than anything else.
Right.
Right. So depending on your history, you're not going to have it's not going to be an all mountain bike. It's going to be.
In which I don't really have a ton of time on the longer travel end of the spectrum, the mega towers, the nomads with the SB150s. So it's hard for me to really say because I don't feel like we necessarily have the terrain here at Boise anyways. No. But I mean, I guess the bike park it is kind of nice, even at Bogus, because it is so loose and nasty that
for
a little
some
bit
of the
more
stuff,
a little bit more stable bike is actually pretty nice.
Forgiving. I kind of, or even just like jump stuff. It's nice and forgiving when you have more travel. But I mean, you can always make them stiffer so they ride different. And I feel like you have more options and tunability with the longer travel bikes than you do.
Right.
Shorter.
And
now,
then,
that being said, I really do like the Tallboy like a lot.
Yeah. You've said before you think that's your favorite like 29er bike.
Because I don't like dedicated 29ers.
Right. And so you're on. How do you feel riding a mullet compared to just standard 27.5?
I like it more. I think there definitely is something to it. I could see them putting it on like the wrong bike.
Right.
It hasn't happened yet because I've only ever ridden 160, 170 bikes that are mixed. But I think it's all my bikes moving forward, at least on 160 and up, will be 27 or mixed. So,
and to me, for the Hightower, I'm always trying to find the bike that's like, because we climb so freaking much here, then I'm always trying to find a bike that, like, when I'm climbing, I'm like, oh, I want to be on something fast and sporty and zippy uphill. But then, our trails aren't technical by any means, but they're high speed and like the longer wheelbase. You don't need the extra travel, but I like that longer wheelbase. Makes it feel a little more stable. Like speeds over 30 miles an hour, the short travel bikes get a little bit sketchy here to me, anyways.
No, I would agree.
And so I kind of like, that's where I kind of always end up in that mid-travel segment because I'm like,
you can still get your medium frame size and having a longer.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because like the Tallboy, I felt like I could go either direction, large or extra large.
Right.
Extra large obviously felt more stable. And then the previous version of the Hightower, I definitely had to go XL. That's large, and even that generation of Bronson, I felt I needed to be bigger frame.
Right.
I don't really feel that way as much on this one. Like the large felt plenty stable. Like I'm totally fine with hitting 30 plus miles an hour, and yeah, I didn't feel outgunned or anything.
Right.
It definitely felt a little weird on the G outs when you'd hit something and compress. Like it kind of had like a weird like wiggly, squirrely feel when you'd hit the bottom of the travel.
Right.
But it wasn't anything that was too concerning.
Right. Yeah, that Trail 4 that's a ripping segment. I love that. That's a fun one. So did you own the original Hightower, the Gen 1?
No, but I rode it a lot. I like the Gen 1 a lot. The Gen 1 I actually did enjoy.
And so you like the Gen 1 more than the version 2.
The version 2 is like my least favorite.
Is your least favorite bike. So the Gen 1 almost, would you say it feels more like a tall boy then?
Yeah, they feel almost dead nuts on.
Really?
Yeah.
And so this bike felt, it's weird because it definitely feels like more stable, bigger, longer compared to my old one, just in terms of even like fit. I felt like the Geo on this one was pretty dialed compared to the version 2. And I think that maybe Santa Cruz realized that their bikes might be a touch, like, because I almost wanted to size up on my last ones. I had that Bronson.
I think you should have on the last one.
Right. And I don't feel the need to on this one.
Yeah, I think they're kind of starting to figure out, what reach and whatever works best.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much, I've heard them say in a couple different interviews that they're topping the larges out at like 475, which actually is, I think, about good for large.
Right. So yeah, I wrap things up, but I really liked it, and I feel like the changes they made were definitely like welcoming changes. It's subtle. It still feels like a Santa Cruz, but it just feels to me like it just fits a little bit better. Maybe pedals a little bit better, but in terms of descending, it has that Santa Cruz, that VPP feel, where it's just, I almost feel like superhero on it. Like it just feels like you can just do no wrong on that bike. So I loved it.
I would agree with that.
So cool. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll have to do it again. And like I said, Joyride Cycles right downtown Hyde Park, and get you anything you need.
We'll have to do a Nomad one now that Phil
Yeah.
has.
Well, because I took your last Nomad out, and God, that thing was a boat. But at the high speed stuff, it was pretty fun. You feel like you could just like drink some coffee on the way down. Doing like 35 was like nothing. I think I hit like 38 miles an hour on your bike down corrals.
Yeah.
That thing's ridiculous. So yeah, let's do that next.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.